Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Celeste Cabra. Welcome to 15 Minutes with You. This is the segment where we review all of the new titles that appear monthly on the Melusine site. Today we'll be going over the March titles. It's going to be 5 films across 3 releases. So I like to go through these in the order that I watched them. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is The Visitor. This is from Circle Collective, the partner label. It appears on both the Melusine and Vinegar Syndrome sites. First thing I want to say about this is that there are no subtitles on it, even though it says on the website and on the back of the disc, or on the back of the case, right, that it includes English SDH subtitles. So at first I was just like mad because I was like, why would you not put subtitles on this? And then I saw that it was advertised and I was like, oh, well, maybe it's a mistake. Maybe there needs to be a replacement. So I DM'd Circle Collective and I have not heard back. So I will probably email OCN about it, but I guess feel free to reach out to me if your disc has the same problem or if yours does have subtitles because it might just be mine. In any case, this is a film directed by Bruce LaBruce, who has been a pretty iconoclastic queer director for quite some time, and it's a remake of a Pasolini film. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce the Italian, but it's Theorem in English. So I went ahead and watched that first so I could have the proper context, and then I watched The Visitor. So essentially, the premise of the Pasolini film is that a strange, mysterious man visits a very rich sort of bourgeois family, and he fucks all of them. He fucks the parents and the son and the daughter and the maid. And in doing so, he essentially like changes their lives both for the better and for the worse. So I won't go into more than that, just to be mindful of spoilers, but this sort of remake takes that same structure and that same premise and inserts some really interesting themes. It makes the visitor a black man who is birthed from a suitcase that washes up on shore. And the film opens with, I didn't realize that this was a real speech. I thought that this was just something that was written to satirize the far right, or sort of xenophobic nationalist ideas. But no, this is a real speech given by a real British politician. I guess that shouldn't be shocking, but it's, let's say, discouraging. Um, so this film is not only making comments about sex and class, but it is also a specific comment on the refugee crisis, such that we can call it a crisis. It's more so like people intentionally shutting off their empathy and ramping up their own capacity for cruelty, but in any case. And so it's the same sort of thing, except there's a few gender swaps and there's at least one trans person in the cast, which is very cool. And in this film, the hardcore sex is ramped up quite a bit. There are actual hardcore scenes in this. And, in the liner notes, um, in interviews and stuff, Bruce LaBruce has said that he intended to make this both titillating in a very pornographic way, like it is supposed to get you off, but it is also supposed to be stimulating for your mind, as it is still also an art film. I think he said something to the extent of like, my films are too pornographic for the art crowd and they're too artsy for the porn crowd. Well, that perfect intersection is me. That's me. I'm the audience for it. So I'm very excited about it and I really enjoyed this. And I'm definitely going to be seeking out more of his films. I had a chance to catch a screening of The Raspberry Reich, but it was during a snow day and I didn't really feel safe driving that day, so I missed it, but definitely interested in catching more of this complete freaks films. There's some really gross stuff in this, like some stuff that I find to be personally repulsive, but I think that's fun. I think that's cool when you can go so far as to gross me out, right? Yeah, there's also a lot of really interesting like strobing sequences in this, and I have come to realize that I'm just a big fan of strobing like in films. Like I think it gives me a kind of meditative ASMR effect, and there's just all these like very extreme like slogans that show up on screen, and it's definitely a pretty bizarre experimental film, and it feels kind of amateurish in some parts, but overall I really enjoyed it. There's a really good video essay on this by Sam Deegan, talking about this work as it relates to the works of Pasolini. There's a really great written essay by Alexandra Heller Nicholas, talking about the political themes of the film and how Bruce LaBruce uses sexuality as a political act. I really enjoyed that interview. And then there's a really good introduction by Bruce LaBruce on it, which is more like interview, I guess. It's pretty long and it's pretty well edited and everything, and there's a lot of clips from his other films in it. And in this introduction, he makes the claim that if all the great dictators throughout history were more comfortable with their own assholes being played with, like if Hitler and Mussolini got fucked in the ass, at least try to, maybe we wouldn't have had all these horrible things happen. It's certainly a take. Perhaps a touch reductive, but I see the point he's making. So that's that one. 7 out of 10 from me, and I do highly recommend the release, assuming that they get the subtitle thing worked out. Okay. Next is the double feature from Picorama. The A feature is All Night Long, and the B feature is Tapestry of Passion. All Night Long is the one that I preferred of these two. It's a fun one. It's just like it's essentially about like a pornographic awards show. And so like a few women get to win their awards, and then it shows the clips they won the awards for, and then we come to the best male performer, and there's two sort of candidates. That's the word I'm looking for. And basically they're in like a deadlock, so they have to do a like game style competition to see who will win, and then all of their activities are being shown on a screen for the award ceremony attendees who get progressively hornier. So essentially they're given like a piece of paper with an address on it, and they're supposed to go to that address, fulfill their mission, and then receive another address, and so forth until they circle their way back to the ceremony. It's pretty funny. I think it's entertaining enough, and there's enough like it's a good setup to have a lot of different types of sex scenes throughout, and to like kind of the filmmakers kind of challenge themselves, or at least give themselves an excuse to write in like all these sort of there's a large variety of sex scenes going on here from a lot of different people. So you're never watching the same thing over and over again, which is fun. These films are both directed by Alan Kohlberg, and they both star John Holmes. And I gotta say, I think this is the one where I remember who John Holmes is, because every time I see him in a movie, I'm like actually taken aback at how monstrous this man's dick is. It's like a straight up like elephant trunk. It's kind of insane. It's a touch intimidating, I suppose, and I just gotta say, shout out to all the women who either attempted or succeeded in getting that in their mouths and other orifices. Yeah, it's a lot. So yeah, that's my review for the first one. I enjoyed it. 6 out of 10 for me. Okay, so Tapestry of Passion. It's sort of the same thing. It's not at all the same thing. It's similar in that it has the same director and same star, right? Yeah, it's like sort of a detective story about this guy, Johnny Wad, who is played by John Holmes. He's sort of investigating this racket that this woman and this like white female dom and her black male sub, they have this like racket going on where they like lure people in to like pay to have sex with her, and then she kills them. So he's like on the case to investigate it. The scenes with the two of them, I don't know. I'm pretty well versed in kink stuff, and I've been to a number of these things in person, but like trying to think if I've ever seen this dynamic play out, because it was very uncomfortable, and I think that it is going to be inherently uncomfortable to watch like a white woman like whipping a black man. Like, and I understand that in the context of the film it's consensual, but yeah, there's just something inherently pretty uncomfortable about that. In any case, this one was fine. It had some interesting stuff in it. It was worth a watch, but I don't know. It's just like a lot of Johnny Wad using some very, very vitriolic and violent misogynistic language, and it just kind of gets uncomfortable after a while. I don't know. It's fine, but it's not the one of the two that I would recommend. But it's worth a watch, I think. So this one I landed on a 5 out of 10, and there are no features on this disc, so that saved me some time. And finally, from Distropix, we have a Joel Reed double feature, Career Bed and Sex by Advertisement. This is another that is also featured on the Vinegar Syndrome site. So actually 2 of 3 of their releases this month are also available on Vinegar Syndrome site. So that's interesting. Okay, so Joel Reed, you may be familiar with as the auteur behind Bloodsucking Freaks, a film that I have reviewed on my channel actually, and reviewed very positively. I think that it is maybe more intelligent than it gets credit for, and it is a little bit, I mean, it really is insane. Like, it really does go there, and it is one of the most extreme films I've seen, but it's not just that. Like I do think there are some interesting ideas there, and I do think that it's pretty well made and bold in its filmmaking. So I actually really enjoy that film and will defend it, but after going through the special features on it, I came to the conclusion that Joel Reed is not a good guy, and like some of the misogynistic elements of the film, even if they can be read as critical or satirical, maybe from his perspective or more straightforward because he just kind of is like that in interviews and he's very unlikable and he seems to have an issue with women. So I was trepidatious for sure about going into this double feature. But, I was interested to see some of his earlier sexploitation work before he was able to go like full hog into the insane shit that he does on Bloodsucking Freaks. And I gotta be honest, I just, even though I don't like this person, like as a person, I like his movies. Like I liked both of these films. And one thing I'll quickly say is that the packaging is really beautiful. Like I really like the color scheme on this and the way everything is laid out. Like typically I'm not a huge fan of the Distrifix packaging because it's so cumbersome, but this is one that I might actually want to procure the limited edition when I do get my own copy. Even though, okay, so there is a book with an essay in it, and the essay is good, but I don't know that I like need it, but I just do really like this box. I gotta be honest. Shout out to the art director and the artist on this. Okay, so Career Bed. This movie's kind of insane. It's about this like extremely abusive, shitty woman who is essentially pimping out her daughter such that it's like the more extreme version of like moms who are like really invested in their kids becoming like actors. And like, you usually hear about a lot of psychological abuse that happens in those situations, but for this it's like just straightforwardly like sexual abuse that's going on because she's like literally pimping out this it's unclear how old she is in the film. She's played by Jennifer, the daughter is played by Jennifer Wells, and she's clearly an adult, but I think the character might be like 17, 18, something like that. I don't remember exactly. So yeah, there's this sort of very uncomfortable incestuous sort of dynamic going on, and the mother is just awful and threatening suicide to keep her in line and all this. It's pretty this might be triggering for some people that have had extremely abusive parents. But I gotta say, I did enjoy it. I think that the story is compelling. I think the cinematography is pretty good. I like the black and white New York City photography going on here. And I don't know, man, Jennifer Wells is just so good and so gorgeous. Like I could just watch her in anything. And she turns in a genuinely great performance here. Like this is a pretty dialogue heavy movie and it definitely feels like exploitation, but it doesn't feel like porn to me. Like it does feel like we're watching a movie here, you know? And I shouldn't say that because my whole thing here is defending porn like as cinema, but like it does feel like there was more effort being put into the script itself than just the sex scenes, right? And the woman who plays her mother, she wasn't in anything else, but she's also gorgeous and does a good job. So, I don't know. That was a good find. It's too bad she didn't do anything else. On the commentary, I believe it's stated that she was like the wife of one of the producers, which is certainly interesting. But I guess it didn't take for her because she never did anything else. So I enjoyed it. I gave it a 6 out of 10. I would probably get this release, honestly. And the second one is Sex by Advertisement. I don't even know how to categorize this, but it's definitely like exploitation in its purest form, where like we are pretending to be educational to get away with showing some pretty lurid stuff. So basically what this purports to be is an investigation into illegal activities going on in the classified ads of the local newspaper. And so we get reenactments of like what a lot of this stuff, a lot of the things that have happened, right? So like it says something like babysitter. There's an ad that's like looking for a babysitter. It's like, oh, but if you look at these code words, they're actually looking for, I don't know, a dominatrix or something. It's ridiculous. And then you'll go to the scene where it actually reenacts that. There's a lot of weird shit in here. Like there's a orgy scene with like clown masks and stuff. There's just a sequence of there's a lot of like whipping and stuff in this. There's a weird scene where like this girl is eating grass and shit. Like I'm not gonna say this is a good movie, but it is certainly interesting and it does have a vibe to it. And there is again a lot of this like vintage cinematography of New York City that I just always enjoy. I don't know. I don't know if I'd watch this again. This is definitely a movie that would be good to just like have on at like a party or something. I don't know that this is like the sort of thing you need to dedicate your full attention to, but It's got a great poster, I'll say that. And I kind of also landed on a 6 out of 10 for this, even though it's not my preference between the two. Like I said, there is a really good essay in the book. It's clearly being stretched out a bit because there's a lot of photographs in the book too, but it's good. It's informative for sure. And John, I don't know how to pronounce this. Spooner, Szpunar, who is Joel Reed's biographer, does both the commentaries and the essay, and he does a good job with all of it. He also did the Bloodsucking Freaks commentary, which I enjoyed quite a bit. So yeah, it's overall a very informative and well put together release, and I do highly recommend it. So check it out. And that's it.